Namaste, Jai Bharat. My Prime Minister is in UK. He is holding talks with the UK Prime Minister. Must have discussed quite a few things which are out in the news. They also addressed a joint press conference, and so many things were discussed in it. Let's just start. As you look at the strategy behind this, my Prime Minister goes to UK, and UK used to be in the European Union, but then of late they opted out of European Union. European Union is imposing, or speaking of imposing, sanctions against Bharat. Though they're trying to clarify that we are not against Bharat, we are only addressing Russia. All right, that's a saying. And the people at diplomatic level are so used to telling lies or not, I don't know. But somewhere you keep seeing such things. But with the discussions among my Prime Minister and the Prime Minister of UK, they've reached a kind of something wonderful, free trade agreement, which means something like 99% of trading is without the tariffs, without taxes. You buy and sell directly. Now this is, you can see it as a milestone achievement. When European Union speaks of one thing, when NATO speaks of something else, and President Donald Trump speaks of something, and amongst all those things, part of UK goes for a kind of relations for a long time. It's for a good period. Free trades, will buy and sell, free. In 99% area, 99% of trade shall be free. That's thought. Whatever is the details are available in the net. But then when this thing happens, what's his opinion of, or what's the situation in the European Union where we stopped exporting 40% of oil and they suffer through with oil shortage? And Trump, president, who is very inconsistent in his thoughts and speaks, very inconsistent in his speeches and thoughts, says different things to just one thing by way of saying, I should say. On the one hand, he kept claiming that he stopped Operation Sindoor, Pakistan Bharat war it was, though it didn't take long. He claims that he stops, and he says that it's trade that I used to end this war. I said, I'll give you a lot of trade facilities. That's it. Then suddenly, after a couple of days, you find him speaking of tariffs against Bharat. Now, which Trump is true? The erstwhile Trump who speaks of ending a war through trade agreements, and the latter Trump who speaks of imposing sanctions. Which Trump is a real Trump? Is a question that anyone in the world can ask. Child can ask this question. What does he mean when he says what no one knows? So he also it's a kind of addressing him, this free trade agreement. It's also addressing him, and also addressing all others who are trying to isolate Bharat, and that kind of a senator that kind of senators in the US who would say will crush the economy of Bharat. What are you worried? Bhimsen or what? Will crumble and crush. These are the talks that doesn't befit anyone in public office. You should have something called nobility. I think that you should learn from the Britishers. When you left the mainland, Britain, and went to USA, you lost the nobilities or what? I don't know. Anyway, the language itself is different. We consider British English as English and American English as American. And in our curriculum and in our language, we have a kind of version of Indian English which is closer to the British English. Not like British English as theirs, but something closer, that I would say. So They, of course, the British is they projected themselves, or we understand them as gentlemen, and they have this kind of nobility, an element of nobility always in them, and which when you migrated to the United States, which originally belongs to the Indians, not we Indians, but Red Indians, and without any shame, you snatched their land. There was a letter written by President Seals to that time Franklin P.S. U.S. President, that the letter must be on the internet, that how you came, the white man comes in the darkness, or with darkness with gun and take away our everything. And this is, we don't understand how you sell land, air, water. Oh, no, very touching letter, which in my younger days this internet was not there, so we got it secular style, and circulated in our class. Not by my very professor, who is a student of Cambridge, who did his studies in Cambridge. He circulated this in our class. Actually, he is a student of Barnard Williams, and he was a student of Wittgenstein, and the student is the student of Bertrand Russell. So my professor was a student of Barnard Williams, gave this thing to us. And later, of course, I heard that this in the internet, I didn't see it because I had that thing, secular shape, that long letter. Very touchy, very sentimental, very emotional, and very meaningful letter written by the Red Indian chief to that time US President about buying and selling of their land. So they snatched the land. So that's what Americans did. That's what those who went to America did. And they become everything. And actually, when they shifted from Europe, Britain to US, they lost the nobility, or what is that, I'm asking. Anyway, so this trade agreement is a milestone. And there's someone who is a silent sufferer. That's none other than China. Chinese products are considerably cheaper on comparison with others, but also considerably lower in quality in comparison with others. People go for Chinese products because use and throw. Very cheap, so you don't mind using and throwing. If you remember, when the ballpoint pens came into market way back, long back, in my younger days, very younger days, we used to buy refills separately and buy a pen. But then suddenly one fine morning we find people using and throwing these things. So they became very cheap. So Chinese products are like that. So they can afford to use it for a short period, and for long term, why should they use? They can always buy a new thing. So that's the advantage of Chinese products. So they don't have their own technology, as I understand. They copy technologies from other people wherever it is convenient to them and employ it, and they product, mass production. They have a lot of production facilities because their administration is communist administration and their economy is capitalist economy. They make this synthetic unity of this kind of things, and they make advancement. So Chinese products are in the market, flooding the market all over the world. And in case of UK, when there's a free trade between Bharat and UK, possibly our products should be cheaper than China without getting tariffs imposed, and definitely much better in quality than what you get from China. So this would disappoint China, who are not our enemy in any case, but not trustworthy from our perspectives. Maybe if they become trustworthy, I'm talking about the administration of the people of China. The people of China have great friends of us. They have historical relations with us. Maybe if they become trustworthy people, we should have very good relations with China, because the people are essentially close to us. They are supposed to be Buddhists, and Buddha was a Hindu, and we share a lot of values with the people of China. The Chinese travelers used to come to Bharat in the ancient times, and they got many of our Hindu texts translated into Chinese, and they are aware of it. And the versions of Buddhism are originally Chinese. That is Taoism, Confucianism, etc. is theirs originally. They extended, basing on the original Buddhist text. But the Shaolin temple is initiated by a person from India, especially South India. His name is Bodhivarman. we have this martial arts in the southern part of India, both South Tamil Nadu, Kerala in particular, and Bodhivarman was a Buddhist monk from Tamil Nadu who went to China and established the Shaolin temple, and they know it. They know it very well, and it is Bodhivarman who began, and there are many stories are also, narratives also there. So that kind of relation we have with people of China. It's only when they become communists they got alienated. Otherwise, we have been historically good friends. So good, we can have good relations with China, and somewhere in the future it should happen because of the end of this iron curtain of communism. So free trade between Bharat and UK should have happened long back. We were supposed to have good relations with Bharat and UK. In spite of the fact they have colonized us for 200 years and impoverished Bharat to a considerable extent, but their nobility and our nobility transcends this kind of things which we consider as petty. So we shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Shri Ram.